What's up, traders? So tonight we're just going to kind of go over the month of June, and when we do that, we're just going to, I don't know, kind of wing it. So welcome to another Friday night live stream. Sorry if I'm not very excited. I'm trying not to wake the kids this Friday. I'm tired of getting yelled at by the wife, as well as I'm pretty tired myself. It's been a pretty stressful couple weeks dealing with the kids. I actually thought I broke my oldest son's arm tonight, but apparently it's a thing called nursemaid's elbow, I think is what they called it. Apparently, some heavy pressure can knock one of the ligaments out of place and in between like bones or something, and all it takes is for them to literally take their arm and extend it so that the ligament will stretch itself out back into place. It's almost like dislocating a ligament per se, but he's fine. We were just roughhousing on the bed, and I kind of threw him down and tackled him a little bit and landed on his arm, and I didn't think anything of it, but he just it took him like 2 or 3 seconds, and then he just started like flipping out in pain. So we actually had to take him and see because I didn't know what exactly was wrong, but neither here nor there. So let's just jump right into it. This was my month of June. Now, the wins versus the losses here, it says I was 28-5. It's actually probably more like 30 and probably like 10-12, something like that. And the reason I say that is because there's some trades like this MU trade, not the MU trade. What trade was it? I'm not even going to look for it. But basically I took like 3 different trades within one ticker, but when I enter them into my journal here at stocktrader.com, they all lump it all into just the one ticker. So like I'll put all 3 trades per se within this one entry, and it's easier for me that way. But when you look at this, so like I could have had 100 trades on NVAX, and because I ended up plus 18, it instead of it saying I was like 51-49 or something like that, it's just going to say I'm plus 1. So, but I'm pretty sure that's probably closer to, and I probably should stop doing that. I should probably enter everything separately. And actually, I think I'm going to start doing that because it'll give me a more accurate win-loss percentage. The overall return on the month was $1,099, pretty much $1,100. The average return per trade was $33.33. Now, again, that actually might be lower because there was more trades. I'm not exactly sure based on, I guess it would be lower. Yeah, I guess it would have to be. The average winner, $45. Average loser, $34.90, which this was the biggest take back from this month was this, because in previous months, I had no problem keeping my win percentage close to 90%, but my average loser was above my average winner, which is horrible. So basically what I was doing was I'd win 90% of the time, but then that one loser that I was getting, per 10 trades was big enough to wipe out pretty much everything that I had won the last 9 trades, and sometimes plus some. Pretty much it was a guaranteed. And my biggest loser was actually at the very beginning of the month. And this was when I was still trying to trade like I was previously. And basically what I did is I did start with probably a little too much on share size. And this is actually right before I started to trade, starting with less share size and kind of working my way into a position. So instead of doing like a 1-1-2 and that being my final, I started doing like a like a 1-1-2-4, but with less, like smaller share size to start. And what that would have done, like say I would have started here with 200 and then I could have done 200 and then 400. That would have left me with 800 shares, and I could have still added one more time if I wanted to, but I also wouldn't have got scared out where I did, because look at what I did. I took my initial entry down here, probably should have cut it right there, which I would do now. When she consolidates a little bit and then breaks that high, I'm out. Like, that's the new rule. But anyways, if we would have stuck with this, because we could always got back in on this big spike, which would have been good, because then it would have been even easier to hold through this. But she spikes up through 4, we're holding, and she comes down, she's trying to break through, we're looking for this to move down towards VWAP, and she starts to come back up. We end up getting out at 395 because look at our share size. We didn't want this thing to go against us when we had 1,200 shares. So this thing ended up coming up, testing 4, and then failing. And I had just looked at it on, let me see, I think I still have it up, yep. So I went back and I was looking at this, and so the initial entry was here, the second entry was here, and the third and final add was here, according to the way my strategy was. She comes up, test 4, and as she starts curling up, we got out as she started to spike here, thinking that she was going to go up towards 4, and if she did and broke high day, we're holding 1,200 shares. We didn't want to cut 1,200 shares way up here. That would have been a huge loss. It would have been another 100 and some. It would have probably been like another 150 on top of the 130 we already lost. So we were trying to stick with a max loss, which means that we sized improperly to begin with. And so when she came up and we got out, if we were in less share size here, we could have respected what you should be doing, which is you can be in until she breaks the high of day. As you can see, she never did, and she actually faded off the rest of the day. So we got scared out because we were sized in too big, and that caused us not to be able to be profitable in this trade. So going back to the overall, we did have some big winners in there too. This was 152 total tickets. So like within, obviously, some are just 2 in, 1 out, and some are, like you just saw, where it's 3 in, 1 out. There's some that are 3 or 4 in, and then there's 3 or 4 out. So those add up. We had a nice win streak of 9, and then if we go back to the loss, that was the very first loss, and then if you look at the rest of the losses after, that was kind of my aha moment. We had ones like TDS. So our chart on TDS, we get in 33.84 or 33.54 right here, which was kind of near the top, and she starts to go up. She makes a new high, and we get out. That's the new strategy. And look at how much we lost. And if you notice, we started with smaller size. We originally would have started that with 100 shares. We started with 50 because if she would have continued to go straight up like that, then we had another 50. And now we got our starting size at a much better average than we would have in the first place, and we're sized in a little bit better. So we ended up losing $15 on that one instead of my normal, where I would just kind of try to fight those things, and we're always losing somewhere upwards of 100, if not more. LVS, I remember this was a little bit of a battle, and stick with me here, but we took the initial entry of 50, around 54, which was right around here. Then we got in 77 over here, and then we got in at 90 looking for this thing to hold under 59. Well, guess what? We used that whole dollar as 59 since it was also the high at 59, and when she went through, we got stopped out. So not that bad. So we got back in for 100 shares over here at 58.90. We ended up taking those off at 58.75. Or actually, it looks like she came back up and double topped, and so we added shares there first. And then when she came down, we took them off. And that's another thing I've been trying, and I've found it to be very successful. So say you get in here at 58.90, and she comes up to try to test that 59 again, and you notice that she's struggling, right? Well, if your stop is at high a day, which is also at 59 or a little bit over 59, you can try to add as close as you can to 59, expecting this thing to double top, right? So say if I would have even added 500 shares at 94, I'm only risking 6 cents on those 500 shares, but I'm looking for a much bigger gain. So I'm risking 5 cents looking to make 50 cents on those 500 shares, right? So I've really been tinkering with that. So if you have a hard stop in mind based off of your previous entry and, maybe high a day or something like that, then that's a pretty great strategy. It's a very low risk for those additional shares. And it's a way to get your average up a little bit higher too. But yeah, that one was a little bit of a fight, but we only ended up losing $26. MGI, I remember, so really it was only 2 in a row. This was actually a mistake trade. But if we go to SGMS, and this was another one, this thing kind of did some weird thing at the beginning of the day. She came up and we were looking for VWAP to kind of hold it down and just kind of fade off like she ended up doing over here. It was VWAP and the $0.50. She didn't do what we wanted, and she kind of consolidated a little bit. And so when she went back up, we just got out. It was pretty simple, and that was only a $2 loss. So keeping the losers small, reserving your capital, that's what it's all about. It's what I've learned, because then when you're hitting your, what a lot of people don't think $50 a day is a lot, but if you can consistently make $50 a day, then you can consistently make $100 a day. You can consistently make $200 a day, because all you're doing is just upping your share size. You start to increase your share size, you size up, and that's how you end up making more money. You don't change your strategy. You don't change your risk management. You don't change anything else. The only thing that changes is the number of shares that you're buying. So, but the main point I'm getting at is you need to keep those losers small, because if you can figure out how to not do what I was doing, like back when I had the MTSI trade, it was a $1,000 loss. And real quick, we'll go over to that just to show you what I mean, just to show you the difference in the way that I'm trading. Look at all these orders. That still baffles me. But right here, like, we got our ad. She tried to come down, right? We got a decent ad here. Since we didn't take profit here, once she broke this high of day, we should have been out, because she tried to come down. She consolidated and went back up, so we should have been out. This was no longer the quick move up, because when we took this initial ad, it felt like she was at the top, but no, she kept going. So we got an ad, and then she came all the way down here before going back up. So to me, that's saying, okay, she's not coming down yet. And when she makes a new high, that's that. You're out, right? So we would have took our loss right here. It would have been a sizable loss, like $150. But by fighting it, look at what she did, right? And now I ended up fighting this thing all day, racking up commissions, just completely playing it wrong. I'm revenge trading the crap out of this thing. All the rules are being broke. Emotions are out of whack. And all I had to do was just cut it for a small loss at the beginning. And that would have been that. Let's look at TCS here. This was only a $95 loss, but let's see how we play. And we actually played this one really well. So we were trying to play the opposite of what I normally play. We were trying to scoop it up, buy the dip, hopefully sell the rip, but we bought the dip and this thing just kept dipping. But luckily we kind of realized what was going on. We tried to be a little patient with it. We kept averaging down, because look, this is the intense move we were looking for. And I actually remember this now. This was actually a mistake that I covered all my shares. I meant to hold on to them a little bit, but we would have had this line here drawn as a support, and we would have been looking to get out as this thing flushed anyway. So it would have been a little bit bigger of a loss, but it would have still been reasonable. Let's see, one more. Arlo was this $15. Let's see how I played this one. So this wasn't the greatest play. Didn't even get an ad in, but at least, and I didn't stop out at what high a day was. So this was actually not a great trade. Probably should have got stopped. Like when she came down to here, and once she started coming, I probably should have taken this for break even, realizing that she wasn't, or at least a little bit of a loss, before she just kind of did what she did. But this was probably just ego. Again, you can't do that. And if anything, really, when she came back down to here and started going for probably right on this candle high a day, you would have top ticked high a day there, but that would have been the right move. There's a lot of things I've learned from going over my past losers. ARRY, I remember this one being kind of a fight too. Yeah, this was back when I was still trying to take shares off so that I could fight it on the way up. I don't know why I ever thought that that was a good idea. But basically what I would do is I would take my initial entry and then I would look for ads, and I would take those off, hopefully 10 cents under my ad. What that was doing, or at least the theory behind it, was if this thing wanted to just keep going and going and going, I could keep averaging up and averaging up and averaging up, making 10 cents every time I added. Like, that was the thought process. But what you're essentially doing is every time you take a second entry like this, your average goes up, but it only goes up, say, halfway, right? So when I cover these shares, I'm actually covering for a loss. And now I'm back to my original share size. So sure, I'm losing less as it keeps climbing and I'm averaging up, but I'm taking realized losses. And then when she finally does top out, I would need that thing to come down considerably because I still only have original share size at this point, maybe double share size, but I have all these realized losses that I have to cover. So I quickly realized that this was not a great strategy. But this actually, for what I was doing, this wasn't played that badly because as you can see, I added here and then once she broke high a day again, I got out. So I had the right mindset as far as that goes. But the overall strategy that I was trying to implement here was just not a great strategy. Let's see. Let's go back and take a no trades. What is this? What are you talking about? Please adjust the filter. What filters? Oh, because I have Arlo selected. All right. I mean, yeah, this was the huge green streak I had. That was, how long was that? 28 trades in a row of green. And just to let you guys know, this is actually my overall on paper, and I actually already added the funds for when I go live on Monday. So technically those are in here, but it doesn't change like the graph or anything. But overall, my trading as a whole, just my trading, I'm down $709. But if you add commissions into that, this is my total loss since I've started trading. It hurts to see that, but some people like to call it tuition. I like to call it a slap in the face, whatever you want to call it. But all right, ACHC, I remember trading ACHC, but maybe that was before I don't remember when I started actually posting the charts, but obviously it was after this, which is kind of frustrating. I remember going back. I could probably go back and like post charts of these on like going on demand, and maybe one day I will, but we'll see. Whoops. But there's really not much to look at. Like as far, I can show you like the way that I've been trading recently. This one was actually a great one. Got the initial entry. I don't know why it's over here. It's kind of weird. I hate Thinkorswim. I really do. Like their charts are pretty cool, but everything else, like if you're an actual trader on Thinkorswim, I just don't know how you do it. But we got 1621 as our initial, which was somewhere around right here. And then we added on this candle, which was pretty much the top. It looks like she got Nat or something. 1650 pop, and we got in at 49. Got it, whatever it was. And we just rode this thing back down. It was a nice extended move, and we caught it coming back down. We took the 75% of our position, which is something I've been trying to do when I feel like she's kind of bottoming out a little bit, and I'm looking to keep a little bit to let it ride. And we actually got a real nice dip all the way down to VWAP, so I ended up trying to take it there, but she actually popped back up because as you see, VWAP was around like 15, like 70 area. And we actually ended up getting those 50 shares at $15.95 because it kind of felt like she got bought back up and, was thinking she might continue to run. But I do really need to start being a lot more patient because those 50 shares should have been something that I was either stopping out at high a day or I was looking for like a big move down here. Not sure why I had this line drawn here, but this is probably what I would have been looking to actually get those out at. And that's something that was my big problem at first is I would start my losers, I would try to fight them, and they ended up becoming bigger and bigger. But my winners, it's like once the first chance I get, I cut them. And like I know this was one of them, WDC. This was like a perfect entry, and it was such an intense move right out of the gate. I remember taking 100 shares of this one because I was like, oh, I'm just going to scalp this thing as it comes back down for the quick move. Well, I got in this, and I mean, as you can see, this was pretty much a top tick. 45.32 is pretty much right there. And this thing just shot right back down. And I think it was like up here in between the top of this candle and VWAP is where I ended up just taking, oh no, it says 40. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's about right. 44.75 is like right there. Yep. And I just said, wow, that's my quota for the day. 50 cents on 100 shares. I remember $50, taking it. But I need to stop trading my P&L. If you guys noticed the last couple of videos, I actually took my P&L off the screen, which I plan on doing as well for when I go back live on Monday, because I would never do that. Like if I'm trading the chart, I actually just made this sticky chart just for going live on Monday, and it's got two very important things on it. Don't be afraid to lose. And basically behind that, I'm basically saying, it's okay to lose. You just got to learn how to, make your losers small and keep your risk management, preserve that capital. And then the other one is trade the chart. And that's what you see I didn't do here, because if I was trading the chart, I would have been doing like I do every other trade, looking for VWAP, right? So at VWAP, look how far down VWAP. VWAP was closer to like 44.20 area. That's an extra 50 cents. And I mean, this thing just shot down. This is a 2-minute candle. And then she shot down even more. She ended up all the way down near 43, all within 2 minutes. And I got out. I mean, this was only like a 30-second trade for me. But if I would have just waited another minute and been patient, I could have made an extra $100 on this trade. And I need to really be patient with those. And it's like, even at that point, I still could have took, just half, looking for VWAP for the other half, or, stop out for the other half, and it's a break-even trade. And that's where I need to not be afraid to lose, because a lot of times if you make a great entry, you can get rewarded. And I need to really realize that sometimes I'm making really good entries, and I need to reward myself for that by being patient and letting it play out the way that you see these play out most of the time. I mean, they don't always give it all back on one candle like this, but sometimes it'll give it back, pop up a little bit, give you the sloppy seconds or whatever, and then come down. So it's like, if you can get that initial spike down to like somewhere near VWAP, or even a little bit above, take off half your position, look for that sloppy seconds. And a lot of times you can add on those sloppy seconds if you have a great initial entry like I did here. So like say the sloppy seconds comes up like right above VWAP, and you're looking for VWAP to kind of fail and then get back under, kind of like this did. You could look to add on that pop, right? So you add on pops and you try to sell down to lows. It really can be that simple, as long as you just get that initial great entry. But that was my main problem, and it's still something that I fight, is cutting losers too early and letting losers go too quick. But I really feel that this month of paper trading has really let me figure out how to lose. I also played a lot of different plays. Like I tried playing the scoop plays. I tried playing some like hangover type plays, just to really kind of feel myself out, like see if, what I'm trading with the para into the shorts is really what I want to do, and if it's what my edge is. I was looking for something else that might be my edge, and I just realized that I wasn't connected to the chat, so I just hit refresh, and I see some of you guys have said a couple things here. See, Jonathan's up there. Hope your live stream goes awesome. Thanks, man. How you doing, Brad? Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. You still trading? I haven't seen you around. Boitstat, when are you going back live trading? I'm going back live trading on Monday, July 1st. I actually asked CMEG to let me go live tonight, like when trading commenced. I think their trading ends at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And I mean, even if it was at 8 o'clock after all the trading's done, it would have been nice just to have the platform back for the weekend. Because it's a little frustrating, because looking at the calendar, of course, the day that I go live is on the 1st, which is Monday. So it's like now I have to wake up and hope that, they reactivated the account, and if they didn't, then it's just a big pain. It would have been nice if the first was on Sunday or something like that. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. I really don't have too much else to go over except just letting you guys know that if you're in a position where you're not sure if you should paper trade, all I can tell you is paper trading is awesome if you trade as you would for real. The whole point of paper trading is to practice as if it were real, to figure out how, if this was real, you would actually trade. So the only thing that I've realized throughout this month is when I hit the button, the emotion wasn't necessarily there as much. And I think that's why I was so successful. And that's why I think a lot of these gurus on YouTube that claim they're making all this money are so successful and at making paper money. Did I say that? But it's so much easier to hit the button in a setup that you basically see your setups a lot more clearly. You see the setups be for what they are and not with wondering if it's going to be a winner. Like if this is your A+ setup, like you're not afraid to trade, the B+ setups. You're not afraid to hit the button and just know that in the end, this isn't actually your money. And it's so much easier to trade that way. But I'm really going to try to go into next week, with the right mindset. I'm going to trade my edge and only my edge. So I might be taking less trades per se than I did on paper. But I'm also going to be looking to minimize my losses. And because this is all still a learning process for me. So I want to be able to go into my live trading with the same emotional mindset that I have been on paper this month, because, this chart doesn't lie. And if my chart can look like this when I'm live, even if it's half of this, like even if it's a much slower pace, I'll be very happy. If I can keep my losers small and keep my winners consistently near my quota, then I'll be happy. What's up, Thomas? What are your thoughts on TC2000? Well, I know a lot of people talk very highly of it, and the only thing that's kept me away from it is that you have to pay for it. And that's the only reason I really use Thinkorswim is because it's free. I will tell you one thing, though. I wish I would have just sucked it up and paid the $150 to use CMEG for the month of June and paper trading. It would have just made things so much easier. I would have kept everything in order, would have been using the same software, would have had all the same shorts that I normally would have. And that was another problem I ran into with Thinkorswim in this month was I found myself trading stocks and trying different strategies per se because my strategy wasn't available to me because Thinkorswim was hard to borrow on pretty much everything. So it was very slim pickings for my edge of the, looking for the quick paras into shorts. But I'm very short biased based on the fact of human emotion. And not to dive too deep into this because this could be a whole live stream on itself. But I'm basically betting against other people's emotions and people that can't control their emotions, even though I'm somewhat one of them for the most part. Like as I was describing earlier with cutting losses too quickly and letting losers run. But I feel like I'm really getting a good grasp on cutting the losers a lot quicker, realizing when I should cut the losers and not letting things get out of control. And I'm trying to actually make rules and keep them. And I think that's one of the big things people can do is that struggle with their emotions is make rules so that you can't break your rules and let your emotions come into play. Because when your emotions come into play, that's why I think being short bias is a good thing. And let me just bring up a chart just to kind of show you. This one will work. So the reason I'm short biased is a lot of the stocks that I'm playing aren't necessarily great companies. they're just stocks that are getting pumped up on some PR or, some stage 2, stage 3, stage 1, whatever it is. And the odds are it's going to run and it's going to look something like this. So if you can pretty much, like when a stock is up in this area, I'm never going to go long here, even if you're just buying the dips, because at any point, I mean, this one isn't a great example as far as like a rug pull, but when you get into a crowded stock with, a ton of shares being traded, and say you get this up here and people are like, this thing's going to the moon, especially the people up here at $4, this isn't a super heavily traded stock, but there was over 100,000 shares that were traded on this candle alone. And the low was 398 and the high was 404. So think of how many people bought into this breakout over 4. They're like, oh, this thing's going to break 4 and just shoot up to like 420 and I'm going to make 20 cents and I'm going to sell. Well, look at what it did. And this happens a lot. And the reason this happens a lot is because you get people that were in here that were just looking for the move to 4, the smarter people. And the even smarter people were in down here before it got super extended. But basically when things start getting extended, the intermediate, to professional traders, they're not going to be buying up here. Who's buying up here? The people that are not that smart. But these people, the intermediate, the professional traders, they're all selling into these people that are buying the shares for the breakout over 4. You guys experiencing buffering? It's giving me an error. Oh, you know what? It might be. All right. Hopefully that worked. Let's see. Okay, good. It should be better now. Sorry about that. I forgot I was still connected to my VPN. That slows everything down. Let me know if that's better. So basically, what I'm getting at is if you short into, like big pops like this, you have a lot going for you if you can find somewhere near the top, because you have the human emotion of people that when they were buying for this breakout and they realized quickly that this thing's coming back down, they're like, oh crap, it's coming down. I need to sell. I need to sell. A lot of people I can't remember the exact saying, and I should probably look this up because it would be a good one for this question. But it's along the lines of traders or just people in general, when they see green, they don't want to let it go red. But when they see red, they're convinced that eventually it'll come back, right? How many times have we heard that? They're the bag holders. So when the people that were buying for this breakout of 4 and they get dumped on, they're like, it'll come back. And then it comes back up and tests 4 and they're like, it'll come back. It comes back up and tests 398. It'll come back. And it just keeps getting lower and lower. And now they're holding down here. And usually somewhere later in the day, you get like a big drop off, because of all the people that were holding over here. But it looks like they slowly kind of got out as this was kind of going down. But hold on one sec. But I guess that's really the best way I can put it without the exact saying on the top of my head. But now say there was somebody that bought it like here at 396 looking for that break over 4. They see it failed. They held through all this and they come back up. Well, the reason a lot of times these don't ever break out again, especially when you don't have a lot of volume come in, is because all the people over here that were looking for the anticipation of the break of 4 that got in the 390s, when they see it kind of getting up there again, they're just taking their quick profit, break even, whatever. And that favors you because not only are people shorting at these key levels now, but you also have people from over here that are selling just to get break even. So you basically have two things working in your favor there. Where that's how short squeezes happen too. Like that's how these things happen, where people are buying because it's breaking out and you have people covering because they were short, and that's that's essentially what short squeeze is. But when you get towards the top, to me, once you have that resistance kind of set, it's much harder to push through that resistance again, because you have a lot of people that are just looking to get out of their trades break even, that add to the selling pressure of the people that are short selling as well to bring this back down. And like I said, there's a lot more people that are interested in breaking even and, you know, maybe getting a little bit of green, versus people that are willing to hold on to their shares, you know, expecting this thing to go back up over high a day, looking for a big winner. And when it doesn't happen, then you eventually get all the selling off and stuff like that. So really, that's why I'm short biased in a nutshell. Like I said, I could really get in depth on that question. So, but that's kind of the short answer. Moving averages right here. VWAP. That's the only one I use. I used to be a technical trader. I used to, and when I made my joke video, turning 5,000 into 278,000. Excuse me. As you saw, my charts actually used to look like that. Here, I'll tell you. Look, it was straight off of one of my old study sets. My final main, I think, is the one that it was. Yeah. Yeah. This is what my chart used to look like for real. Back when not when I first started trading, but these were what I was looking at. Oh my God. How did I look at this on a daily basis? To zoom in, I mean, I could tell you exactly what these are. That's how long I used them. But I was using the alligator indicator, which was the 2, the 5, and the 7, I want to say. Let me see. And I can explain to you what it is. Edit studies. The 2, the 6, and the 7. So essentially the 2 is the quickest one. It's using just 2 candles. And that's following the price action the closest. Well, basically you're looking for crossovers. And when you get a crossover, the 6, which is the blue line, will pretty much be following. And then when the red actually, or no, is it? Yeah. So when the red gets in between these two, that's actually like, I wonder if I go to the 1 minute if it'll show up better. So it's the other way around. Okay. So the red is the 7. So you're looking for the 6 to come up through and get in between these. And that's supposed to show you a strong trend. So then when the 2 comes back down through, it's supposed to show you that the trend is changing. And pretty much that's the alligator indicators. The yellow line, I believe, what was the yellow line? That's okay. I changed that. That used to be my blue line, I think, but when I added the alligator indicators, so the 9 moving average was my yellow line. The white was my 20. So I was always looking for the 9 and the 20 to cross, because that was always a major, that's what a lot of traders use. Here's VWAP. This is the 50. Here's the 100. Here's the 200. I had previous day close. Was this previous day close? I don't know. Or this was just low. Or these are just support and resistance lines that a formula on TOS found. I think this was previous close. I mean, this is what I used to use. It's just absolute garbage. Spaghetti is what I call it. So now I just use VWAP. And this other line, this adaptive VWAP, I was messing around with it. Let me get rid of these real quick. Where'd it go? Why you no worky? Why you no worky? Let's just do it this way. Dun, dun, dun. Add selected. Edit. White. Dots. Upper band. Lower band. Okay. Apply. Why is it not coming up? I don't know. Am I missing something here? Is it because I'm on demand? Maybe that was it. I don't know. Maybe it was having problems figuring that out. I don't know what the one stock today was that like went crazy. Anybody remember? I know it wasn't BYND, but this is something that is on TOS specifically. There's a guy, his name's Zach on Twitter. I can't remember his last name, but he's called like the VWAP on Twitter. Let's see, Zach Hurwitz. And it was something that I came across and I thought it was kind of interesting. But if you take VWAP, it basically gives you VWAP for the day, right? VWAP is just for that day. Well, he came up with a formula where you can look at the adaptive VWAP for any time period. So if I want to look at it for 20 days, I can see what the average price was, or what VWAP, the average volume weighted price, was for those last 20 days. And that's what this line is. So if you notice, this stock has been trading pretty much above that. And how it helps is, let's do, where's the, I thought I had one for 20 or 10 days. So how that works kind of intraday is, like, I usually use the 10-minute on, or the 10-day 2-minute. So now, you can see VWAP intraday for every day, but you can see that it's been trading well below the average volume price. But look at what happens when she comes up. She comes up, and then she's kind of just messing around with it here. But down here, you could probably say that, she's going to, just like during the day, the price tends to move back towards the intraday VWAP. Eventually, over time, if you want to be like a swing trader, you can look for these types of plays. And it even works on that as well. So as you can see, she volume weighted price, and she starts to extend. And look, she tried to come back down. She gets extended again. She tries to come back down, and she's somewhat extended again up here. This is BYND, so it's probably not the best example. Let's do something like Tesla. I don't know. As you can see, she's extended, comes down, goes through, is kind of messing around with it, comes up and has a big dump, comes back up, tests right at it, comes down, comes up, tests right at it, and she tries again, doesn't even get there, and look how extended the downside she is. So it just goes to show, and what this is basically showing you is how many people are most likely in at this price. So like the price is way down here, 223, but the average volume weighted price over the last, what is this, a year? It's half a year. Are at 270 something. So there's a lot of people looking. So it's going to be real hard to get that price to come back up, because there's a lot of people on the way back up if they're looking to cut their losses. But a lot of people, like I said, with the human emotion, they're probably going to be holding, looking for it to get back up to their entry. Like, how could Tesla go broke? They can't go broke. They're like one of the best companies in the world, blah, 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 blah. So, but if you guys don't have any more questions, I'll give you like 2 minutes. If you have any more questions, I'd be glad to answer them. If not, I'm going to do like a little outro / thank you for my bring down my dashboard for YouTube. Just kind of briefly look over that just for a second. I was kind of curious. I was looking at these. I'll just bring it down while I'm looking at it. Yeah, and see more. I was looking at this, and a lot of the people that are actually watching my videos are not subscribed. So it's like, man, it'd be really nice if I could just get like 1 out of every 10 people that aren't subscribed to just hit that subscribe button. That would be real nice. I'm not really necessarily that worried about it per se, but it would be nice to kind of get up there to that 1,000 subscriber mark and then get my views up. Just for the simple point or simple fact of being monetized, it'll really help out just the fact that, I put a lot of time into doing this, but I enjoy it. So that's why it doesn't really matter to me necessarily. And like I said, this is more for a journal first anyway. But let's see. Did I lose one? Is Jonathan still here? I thought it was 268, wasn't it? Yeah. That's the other thing too. It kind of makes me laugh. If like it'll say 268 here, but then if you go to, oops, I didn't mean to hit new window, but like if you go to the actual video on YouTube, it'll be something completely different. Or no, I guess it says 268 here. I don't remember where I was seeing that. After you set up your account with CMEG, if you pulled profits, how long does it take to get to your account? I don't have any experience with that with CMEG yet, but I have a friend that was within ISW for a little while, and when he withdrew funds, I think he said it took a week. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I think he actually posted that somewhere in one of the videos. I'd have to go find it. I wonder if I can search my comments. It doesn't look like it. I honestly don't remember what video it was on, but he had mentioned it, and I'm pretty sure he said it took a week, which isn't great, but it's one of the cons of dealing with an offshore broker. But unfortunately, it's kind of what we have to do when we don't have the big monies, honeys. Yeah, I really don't know what else to. I really don't know what else to say about the YouTube thing. I just was going to bring it up for a hot minute. And I started the stream early. Sorry about that. I kind of pulled a quick one on you guys. I started at 9 instead of 9:30, but I didn't feel like I was going to make it up too much longer. So I tried to drink some caffeine and get it in. And I'm sure you can kind of tell by my demeanor that I'm not very awake. I've had a super long week, and I'm so excited for some sleep. That's what I wanted to say. We're at 268, which is awesome. 300 is going to be the next giveaway. We're definitely going to be doing the same thing. It seems to be very popular as far as getting a free week of the ISW scanners. I'm not positive if we're going to do the chat rooms or not like we have in the past. It might just be the scanners. So you might just get the scanners for a week. The platinum package, not the elite. But you would just have to go through me as far as asking any questions you might have and stuff like that. I don't know if we're going to be doing the chat room anymore. We had before Thomas got in there, we one of the other guys on YouTube with ISW had brought somebody in there on a free week trial, and it was interesting to say the least. So we're gonna kind of get away from that. I think when we do the giveaways, we'll just do a week of the scanners, and you just have access to the scanners, which it's really all you need. The chat room is nice, but it's really just kind of a hangout for us special people. But any more questions? Thomas, you can just kind of message me on Discord or whatever if you have any more questions when I'm not here, and I'll get to them when I can. But if nobody has any more questions, I'll give it till 9:50. So we got 48, 47, 46, 45, 43, 40. I'm skipping numbers. That's how tired I am. If you are watching and you're not subscribed, subscribe. If you haven't liked this awesome stream so far, like it. I see 3 of you have, so thank you for that. I haven't done it myself. I'm going to go do that right here on stream because that's how awesome I am. Yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna take a melatonin pill, and I'm gonna take a pass out. Yeah, see, I'm talking to myself. Where's it at? There it is. Boom. But yeah, my plan moving forward is to make more money, make real money. That's gonna be awesome. I really would like to make this same chart for next month. If I can make the same chart for next month, I will be super happy, and I feel like I'll be on my way. I felt more like myself while I was paper trading with enough funds than trying to force it with the small equity that I had after that MTSI trade. It made no sense to keep trading the way that I was, and going to paper for a month was by far the best decision that I had ever made. So if you're stuck in a place where you feel like you don't have enough equity to kind of trade the way that you want to trade, I highly recommend pausing your live account and going to paper while you raise the funds to trade properly. Not only can you find the holes that are in your strategies and really kind of hone those in, but you might find out that that's not your edge at all. And if you know it's your edge, it'll help you define your edge, because you'll be trading your edge purely based on the chart and the setups, and you won't really have the emotion behind it with the P&L. And it'll really allow you to just see how you should be trading. And that was one big thing for me is, watching my videos back, I really started to see how I should be trading, especially on trades that I should have made more, like the WDC trade that I had talked to you guys about. Like when I watched this back, I immediately knew it right after I got out of the trade. I was like, what was I doing? I think I actually jumped right over to a different trade. Yeah, this is when I jumped over to MU that same day. But there was no need to jump out when I did. It made no sense. Like, I should have been willing to risk this coming up high of day and getting stopped out, say like 2, 3, 4 more candles over if she consolidated, and looking to stop out. Don't be afraid to lose and trade the chart. I mean, that's literally this trade summed up on that sticky note. Is I was afraid to lose, so I just took the profits quick and I didn't trade the chart because I took an exit. Like, who exits right here and where my cursor is? That exit makes no sense. You should be either looking for the big gain down towards VWAP or even under VWAP, or you should be looking to get stopped out. Like, you can't be afraid to lose. If you're afraid to lose, you're always going to run into the same thing that I ran into when I first started trading, and I still obviously run into, is I'm taking smaller winners, but I was willing, but yet I wouldn't let this run down and expand my winnings. But if this thing would have went against me, I'd have no problem adding to it and letting it run against me. So it makes no sense. You need to, and that's a lot of people will say that about trading. You need to basically unlearn everything that you were taught growing up. Like, your emotions almost have to flip-flop because your inner being is telling you, I'm green, sell. Like, I want to stay green. And you need to really embrace the risk of the trade. You need to realize that you're getting into the trade and you have to embrace the risk of that trade, looking for the big reward. And it's really that simple. Now, doing it on the other hand is completely different. But all right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. I see no more questions. Gave you an extra 4 minutes to ask them. Thomas, I appreciate the support. Appreciate all the support from you guys. Like and subscribe. Obviously, I always appreciate the support. And if you have any questions or comments, if you know how to reach me other than YouTube, do that. If not, just leave them down below in the comment section. I will get to them. I always do. And I will let me also add, have a great weekend. I'm going to enjoy my weekend. I don't have work tomorrow, umpiring. I don't know why I didn't have this day blocked. I think I don't know, but it rained really hard tonight anyway, so the games probably would have got canceled. But just really excited to kind of have a day off I can sleep in and just enjoy the day with my kids and really kind of just release some stress, even though I got to cut the grass, go to Sam's Club, do all the normal stuff anyway. But yeah, have a good weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday. And that's going to end with a big old peace. I missed the